We are recording, my friend.
Take one. Here we go.
Take
We've
one.
never had to retake one, have we?
Nope. And you know what? I just heard the train. I closed my window. So if you guys have been watching and if you know, you know. And I closed my window. So I'm really glad about that.
Well, what do you think about Psalm 99?
Well, first, I just can't believe that we're almost to 100. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Um,
Yeah.
but the first thing that really, well, two things stood out, both fairly quick, but one is I just noticed the repetition of the way this psalm refers to God as being holy. And so I just went through and I counted four times it refers to God as being holy. And it just made me reflect on that for a minute. And really, I think two main things we're talking about when we're talking about holiness. One is, I think, what we all kind of typically think of, and that's moral perfection or purity, like just uprightness. God doesn't sin. He's perfect. He's holy. But then also, there's this idea, secondly, of transcendence. God is just in his own category. He's other. He's high above it all. And then as I'm thinking about that, I feel like this psalm kind of highlights both of those things. Verse 4, it talks about how he loves justice. He's done what is just and what is right. And kind of the theme of the whole thing, in some ways, is that God rules and he reigns. He's enthroned, pardon me, above everyone else and everything else. He's holy. So I thought that was cool. And then the other thing is just at the end of the psalm. Can you hear it? A little bit, little bit. Hopefully, it's at least a little bit muted. The train. Anyways, um, he starts talking about Moses and Aaron and Samuel and how Israel called upon the Lord and the Lord answered them. And in verse 8, he says, Lord our God, you answered them. You were to Israel a forgiving God, though you punished their misdeeds. And he just goes back into worship. And I just thought that was really cool, though, because our God is a God who is willing, even though he's holy and so high above little people like me, he will listen and he will answer and he will forgive me. And he punished their misdeeds, but ultimately he became a man and he took that punishment for us so that we could just enjoy his grace. And I just thought that was cool. So, yeah, what about you?
Yeah, it's so good, dude. I had this even before I opened the scriptures this morning. I had this sort of stirring in my own soul of just like remembering that God forgives. And I think a lot of times the enemy wants us to hold on to guilt and shame, and the Lord wants us to release and confess and move forward. And so, as soon as I was reading the psalm, almost like hoping and praying, like, Lord, I hope that forgiveness shows up in this psalm. And then I got to verse 8 and I was like, oh, wow, that is really cool. And as I was just thinking more about it and dwelling on this idea, I remembered a really cool, beautiful poem that Ravi Zacharias, he recently passed away, was known as an apologist who spoke all around the world, spoke at some of the world's most leading universities, and just a brilliant thinker, but loved Jesus. And he would share this poem in relation to forgiveness, and it's really cool. I'm just going to read it. He came to my desk with a quivering lip. The lesson was done. Have you a new sheet for me, dear teacher? I've spoiled this one. I took his sheet, all soiled and blotted, and gave him a new one, all unspotted. And to his tired heart I cried, do better now, my child. I went to the throne with a troubled heart. The day was done. Have a new day for me, dear master. I've spoiled this one. He took my day all soiled and blotted and gave a new one all unspotted. And to my tired heart he cried, do better now, my child. And I love that we can come to the Lord in the evening, in the morning. His mercies are new each day. And regardless of how our day went, he is there, just like in the story of the prodigal, ready to receive us with open arms and throw us a party. And so don't ever be afraid to go to the Father and just say, do you have a new day for me, dear master? I've spoiled this one.
That's so good, man. Love it.
Right on. Well, tomorrow is 100. Psalm 101. We'll be back with 102 on Sunday.
Crazy stuff, man. All right.
All right, brother.
Adios.
Peace.